703, 4, 5.
Alright.
Alright, here we go. So this Panzer IV badly damaged, the main gun being destroyed, now totally taken out by the Sherman. Sherman getting a bit of experience from that. Another kill like that should give it quite a bit of veterancy. And now here we go, we have the Grenadiers on the field, providing support, getting a bit too close to this MG machine gun emplacement. Now one of the things about the American MG emplacements compared to the Axis is that they have a lot longer range. As you guys can see, learning the hard way again.
And also a wider arc of fire.
Say that? Say that again?
Also a wider arc of fire.
That's right. And unfortunately, wow, two Grenadier squads going down there. Quite a loss of Grenadiers right now.
And we have Pepsi actually picking up Shreks, which is something that everyone should watch for. I mean, for the most part, unless it's an LMG-42 that dropped on the ground, you should probably pick up the weapons that are out on the field. It's just good practice. Bars are worth picking up. Piats are worth picking up to a certain extent. Shreks are definitely worth picking up, especially on riflemen.
Especially on veteran C3 riflemen. Now, I don't know, it seems quite peaceful right now. It seems like a little bit of battling has gone about, and both sides are just trying to recover. Pepsi has quite the army right now. I mean, he's got quite a force. He's got 3 riflemen, he's got a few engineers, he's got two Shermans, 1 veteran C2, actually both of them veteran C2, so very surprising. They're also both up guns, so quite interesting.
And we have what's obviously a very premature GG coming out of Shaman. At this point, I'm fairly certain that he believes he's going to lose.
Suppose he thinks he does. Now, instead of the medic bunker that we had before, we've actually got a repair bunker. So this is obviously a plan that Shaman is going to go pretty much for tanks. If he's going to be investing so much in repair bunkers, then he's obviously going to be going heavily for all these tanks, these armors, and he's going to need that repairing capability. Unfortunately, we don't see that.
We have a wonderful registered artillery dropping. Taking out a rifle squad, it looks like.
It's pretty good, so being defensive in the literal sense.
And at that point, you know, we were having a brief conversation about registered artillery, and if you can get a vet rifle squad off of the field through the use of munitions, it is worth every bit of munitions that you can get, because the American player is going to have to re-earn that vet the hard way.
That's right. When you're playing as the Axis, so Wehrmacht or even PE, like when you're and you're versing an American, what you really need to try to do is eliminate whole squads, because as soon as Americans get their veterancy 1, 2, 3, they're going to become a lot more problem, especially the higher veterancies. So you really got to try and kill off the squads. One thing to note though, when you're using registered artillery, don't use it right away when you see a capping squad, because a lot of times people will have their view on that capping squad. So you gotta wait initially maybe a few seconds, or maybe just before the point is actually even capped, and then throw down the registered artillery just to make sure that your opponent does not have their attention on that squad so they can't run away. So just all these like little things to note about.
We also have a 3rd Panzer IV coming out from Shaman.
Oh gosh, so we've got 2 on the field right now that are badly damaged. And you said another one, did you say? Oh yeah, it's on the build.
About halfway
it's on the build
right
yep.
now. We, you know, another interesting point is that, you know, obviously he's spending a lot of fuel and manpower on these Panzer IVs. If he would pick up the veterancy for the support, the pioneers that he does have on the field would double their repair rate.
That would help a lot.
In combination with the repair bunker and everything else, you have to keep these tanks running.
That's right. I would actually definitely like to see Shaman have more repair capabilities. So maybe another repair bunker, or maybe more pioneers, something like that. Because I mean, one squad alone is not going to be enough.
I actually don't see any repair pios out from this bunker.
I know, that's kind of strange. Maybe they were killed in like some sort of artillery shot. Otherwise, they can't be.
There we go. There's one.
Oh, there's one. Bit of a slacker, I would say.
Right? In there, taking a nap, playing some cards.
Playing some Company of Heroes, maybe.
Yeah, and here we have these grenadiers running up. They're stopped by the stolen MG42 that Pepsi has put out in front of the sandbags in his base there, and I just don't know that that's a worthwhile thing. If you're gonna send grenadiers out, take them over to this left-hand side. You know, pick up some more munitions, pick up some more fuel to help feed those tanks.
And what I'm not actually really too sure about right now, I mean, Shaman, he had a lot of infantry on the field. He still has quite a bit, but he's obviously not taking the absolute benefit of defensive doctrine right now. If he really wants to try and capitalize on all this infantry and use the For the Fatherland and all that, then he really needs to have more infantry on the field. I like how he has tanks, but he needs to have a medic bunker down. That would help a lot more. When it comes to doctrine choices right now, I think what might be really good is, say, if you had Terror and a Firestorm, or even a V1. Imagine that. Trying to if you drop that on the Americans' base, that would instantly take out the howitzer.
Well, with defensive, you do have the 280mm rocket barrage, and that does do a decent job at taking out Howies.
Indeed it does. 200 ammunition, a lot though. It's quite an investment.
And here, again, I don't understand the Grenadiers and the thought process behind Shaman, but the way that Pepsi handles it, just bringing everything to bear, using that stolen MG42.
Yeah, I can't really understand what he's trying to do. I mean, does he not realize that there's MGs there or something? He's being a bit stubborn. I'm guessing he just really wants to try and take out this howitzer, maybe even crawling up to it to try and take it out. Unfortunately, that does not work when the enemy has so many defenses. Could it have actually been? It might have been a sort of a lure. Maybe he was trying to lure some tanks out of the way with the grenadiers and bring in all these panzers. Could have been that. But now we have the howitzer taken out by that rocket barrage. The Shermans responding, all three in force, to these three panzers and a pack as well. Now, what could happen? I'm really not sure. We've got these two veteran C2 Shermans on the field. One being taken out, so very good for the Germans right now. The Panzer IV badly damaged. The Shermans really want to try and take this out, trying to go in for the kill. Unfortunately, I think they must have targeted the wrong Panzer. This badly damaged Panzer just barely making it away, so quite a relief for the Germans right now. Quite a bit of a comeback there. That one veteran C2 Sherman taken out. Very big loss for the Americans right now.
And I think he's kind of cutting his losses and running. I think he very well could have taken out those two Shermans with the remaining two Panzer IVs, because if you look at the Sherman over on the left-hand side, the double vet, it's down to a quarter of its life, and the no vet is full health, but it's not going to be much of a threat against two Panzer IVs.
Yeah, what I've liked to have seen is if that badly damaged one kept on retreating, maybe pulled back the pack out just because of all the riflemen on the field, and he just chased down that badly damaged Sherman with the rest of the Panzer IVs. They easily could have tried to take it out. But now we have these Grenadiers on the side, just trying to do a little bit of damage, possibly trying to take out the Sherman, but barely missing. Ouch.
See, and I would have taken a different tact with that. I would have turned around and I would have gone right to that strategic point and taken that strategic point, cut off the American player, and forced the tanks to come to me.
And that would have been a lot better. So there's quite a lot of, I mean, as you're saying, there's quite a lot of different ways to actually approach a situation. That's how you would approach it, and that's totally valid. When I was initially thinking, oh, there's no way I would go brute force and right in the middle. I was actually thinking to myself, I would flank out from the side. So I would go towards the ammunition point, one guy to the manpower point, and then come in from the sides and try and take it out. But yeah, totally valid way. I think you've got an actually better strategy by luring them out with that strategic point.
We have a second repair bunker up, so I mean, clearly we're going to see some more tanks coming out. We've got Vet 3, 4 tanks in general. But with 3 Panzer IVs on the field, and now I want to see something different. I don't want to see them, pushed up, and I don't want to see them move that way. I want to see an Ostwind, I want to see a Panther to help take out these Shermans. The Panzer IVs themselves are not the best against Shermans, and part of that's they're not better than Stugs against Shermans, for example, because the Shermans penetrate the Stugs so much less than they do the Panzer IVs.
That's right. I think when it comes to Shaman's reasoning, I think I might understand why he's going for the Panzers, because he obviously recognizes that the Shermans and there's infantry on the field. The Panzer is sort of in between the Panther and the Ostwind. Obviously it doesn't have the fast fire rate of the Ostwind. Obviously it cannot penetrate tanks like the Panther, but it's sort of in between. It's an anti-tank, it's an anti-infantry, a moderate one at that. So now we have this bit of an engagement. The Grenadier is still being very, very, wow, taken out. Jeez, I was waiting to say that. They're being very stubborn, and wow, gosh, I'm not exactly sure what to say about that. That was, again, learning the very hard way for a third time. All 2 squads of those Grenadiers, the Panzerschreck, should I say, taken out in one shot.
And we had a rocket barrage go down on the western portion of the Americans' base there, taking out the howitzer, a Sherman, and an MG bunker as well. It also put some serious damage on the other Sherman. But again, you have to be careful of these riflemen with stickies, and particularly the riflemen with stickies and Shreks.
That's right, I mean, using the Shreks against them. Now, I mean, that was quite heavy losses for both sides, but that was definitely needless losses for Shaman. I mean, he had plenty of warning by that smoke to get those Grenadiers out of there, even just retreating or even just moving them off to the side. But I mean, just seeing that both squads fall down to one howitzer shot just really broke my heart.
Yeah, and I think despite that, though, he lost 600 manpower there, granted, even though he didn't really pay that 600 manpower to begin with. Still kind of a shame. But, he did do quite a bit of damage to the Americans' position on the field as well, the lack of the howitzer. I think right here we're kind of seeing a mistake on his part. He left those 2 tanks forward for too long. At that point he should have done what he'd done earlier and cut his losses and backed up and just repaired up and taken his time.
I mean, that's actually, I think I definitely agree with you there. He should have repaired his tanks up just to make sure, and unfortunately losing 1 tank there, but he should have repaired his tanks and then moved in, because he obviously had the Americans in such a bad position right now, or that point. They lost quite a few tanks, they lost quite a few structures, they lost their howitzer. So if he just played it safe and repaired his tanks, made sure everything was ready, then moved in one swoop, he could have done a lot of damage. So we have a registered artillery coming down, taking out 1 M10, so good use of that registered artillery.
That was actually a rocket barrage.
Or a rocket barrage, should I say.
He seemed to point it